Okay, welcome to this talk on Jakarta EE9 and beyond. My name is Ivar Grimstad, and I'm the Jakarta EE developer advocate at Eclipse Foundation. This is my second EclipseCon and the first virtual one, as probably most of the speakers. But some words about me. You can see my Twitter, my LinkedIn, my GitHub here. Just feel free to contact me on any questions regarding Jakarta EE or Java in general. I'm a member of the Java Community Executive Committee, and we're actually running for elections. So if you're a member of the JCP, please vote for Eclipse Foundation, and I can represent you there for another 2 years. My day job is in the Jakarta EE working group, and I'm as well active in the Apache community, and I run a local Java user group here in Malmö in Sweden. I'm also a Java champion. So the topics for today are, I'm going to give you a little bit of background of what we do in Jakarta EE. Then I'll talk about Jakarta EE9 and talk about beyond Jakarta EE9, what's coming afterwards. So to start with, I'll give you an introduction on Jakarta EE. And as you probably remember, it used to be Java EE, and Java EE was governed by the Java community process run by Oracle. For many years, it's been a tremendous success story. And a couple of years ago, Oracle decided that it was time to open source Java EE and move it over to Eclipse Foundation. So they did that, and we've been working on moving all these technologies, all these projects over to the Eclipse Foundation under the EE4J umbrella projects, where we produce the Jakarta EE specifications. And you also may wonder, where are the Jakarta name coming from? And those who are been in the game for a while probably remember Jakarta Apache project, and that was an umbrella project for all the Java projects at Apache Foundation. And Apache Foundation was so gentle with us that they let us have the name, and from that we got Jakarta EE. And the source of information for Jakarta EE and all related stuff is jakarta.ee. It's a super simple URL to remember. So if you remember anything from this session, remember this one. And type it into your browser and save it to your bookmarks. Or just remember it. It's super easy, jakarta.ee. So what we do at Jakarta.ee then, we produce specifications. And what are specifications? First of all, it's a lot of them. And in Jakarta EE, we have 34 different specifications. A little more than 34 are listed here. And that is the grayed out one at the bottom are specifications that we have decided not to develop any further. So they are still there, and you can still use them, and they're being used, but we look at them as legacy technology that won't need to be developed any further. They are stable as they are. Then we divided the specifications into a Jakarta EE web profile and a Jakarta platform. And the web profile is a subset of the platform. So this is how we've kind of organized these. You can either get certified by implementing all the Java EE web profile specifications or a full profile certification. The specifications at Jakarta EE are open. And by open specifications, we mean that the specifications are developed using the Jakarta EE specification process. And this process mandates a code-first approach. That is, we want to have some technologies that are proven to work, that you have some use case that you're solving something with a technology that has been around for a while, then you can specify it. It's collaborative, so everybody is welcome to join and collaborate on creating these specifications. Everything is open source. All the documents, all the test suites, the TCKs, everything is open source, so you can contribute to it, you can use it according to the licenses that are applied to them. We also have the concept of compatible implementations. In the JCP days, we used to have a reference implementation. That was kind of one implementation that was used to prove that the specification was implementable. In Jakarta EE, we have the notion of compatible implementation. So there is no implementation that is any more special than others. So we have the concept of compatible implementations, and there may be many of them, but at least one. And we also practice self-certification. That is, we trust you. So if you say that you are running the test suite with success, we just need you to show the results, and we will get you certified. So you don't need to send your product anywhere for anybody else to run any test suite on it, because the test suite is open source and it's available. The Jakarta EE specification process has a couple of reviews here that are important milestones that the specification goes through. So at first it's created, and in order to become a specification, the specification committee has to approve that, yes, it's a valid thing to specify. So that's why we have the creation review. And then we require a plan review, a couple of statements saying, what are you planning to do with this specification? And unless you release something with a release review, you once a year have to show some progress and submit some to a progress review. And all this is specified by the Jakarta EE specification process. So what is a specification then? A specification in our terminology is a specification document. It's an API artifact, and it's a test suite, or a TCK, a test compatibility kit. And all this together, backed by a compatible implementation that shows that the specification specified in the document is implementable, that passes the TCK, then you have a final specification. So compatible implementations then. There are a lot of compatible implementations, and we have at Eclipse Foundation, we have Eclipse Glassfish. And also, in addition to this, we have all these different vendors that have their implementations of Jakarta EE. And these are the ones that are listed on our compatibility page, which is jakarta.ee/compatibility right now. And there are more to come. Let's talk Jakarta EE9. Jakarta EE9 is, well, it's not available now in the sense that it's final, but there are alphas, betas, milestones, release candidates, everything out there, so you can actually try it out. The release date for Jakarta EE9 is November 20th, and it's approaching very fast, but you can already try it out. And what I want to do now is actually show a little demo of how you can try it out. And in this demo, I'm going to use the Apache Tomcat and Eclipse Jetty to show that Jakarta EE is more than the full implemented application servers. We all have all these product that implements a couple of the specifications. And for Tomcat and Jetty, I'm going to demo the servlet specification. So I'll open my IDE here, and in this project, you can see I'm actually using the release candidate 2 of Jakarta EE. And one thing to note here is that the Jakarta EE9 is based on Java SE8, and that may be weird, because why come with something new on an old technology? But the reason for that is it is kind of a complicated thing to get everything to work on 11 and above. So we decided to go on that product must run on 8, but it may run on other things. So in this example, I'm actually using Java 15. I'm living on the edge a little bit here, but read the vendor's documentation, because even though the APIs are compiled to Java 8, you can still use newer versions if you want to, but check it with the documentation of the product you're using. In this case, I'm using 15. And to show that it actually goes, I'm using the text block features that is newer than 8 at least. So this is, you can see it implements the Jakarta servlet. And it's a super simple servlet. It just says hello, and it says hello from Jakarta 9, greetings from servlet, and let's call it servlet 5. And so let's go and run this one. There we go. And while it runs here, I'm going to switch to my command line here, and you can see I have Tomcat running. And let's drop this artifact I just compiled into the WebS folder. You can see I'm copying the servlet Duke war application in here. And let's do the same thing with Jetty. So here I have Jetty running. It's an alpha of Jetty. So let's copy this one in there, the same file. So I've copied both of them in here, and as you can see, it deploys. So then I'll open the browser and look at the Tomcat installation here. And the application was servlet Duke /hello. And you see, it says greetings from servlet 5, which I just did now. And the same thing will apply if I refresh this. You see that the servlet Duke application has been deployed here. I can go in and say hello from Jakarta 9. So you see, you can already run it in both Jetty and Tomcat. And there are more. Like I said, there are lots of them out there, and you can see a list of them here. And these versions are newer now, but you can probably find your favorite product here and get a newer version that supports more of the APIs. So you can download the release candidates and milestones and etc. there. And if you want to get listed on this page, use the hashtag embrace Jakarta and show that your product supports Jakarta EE9. So the main themes of Jakarta EE9 are lower entry barriers, platform for innovation, and easy migration. And let's go into these piece by piece. So the lower entry barriers, that means that we are deprecating some old technologies. We're removing stuff that isn't needed to make it easier for new players on the market to come in and implement this technology. We want to make it a platform for innovation so we can start doing some new stuff. And part of this is the namespace change, because as long as we are on the javax namespace, we cannot evolve the APIs. So by moving to the Jakarta namespace, we can evolve the APIs as we like. And we want to provide an easier migration from the older technologies, whether you're on Java EE8 or Jakarta EE8 or even earlier, we want to make the migration easy to Jakarta EE9, and that's why we don't add a lot of new stuff. We just remove a little things. So moving an application will basically be to switch the namespace. And we also provide some tooling in some open source projects called the Eclipse Transformer that will help you do the bytecode transformation if you're not available to access the source code and actually do the namespace change in the source. So namespaces, I've been mentioning this a couple of times. Let's go and look at that. So what we're doing is to go from the javax namespace to the Jakarta namespace. And this may sound simple, and in most cases it actually is. But for the vendors, the implementers of the technology, this can cause a little bit of headache. But they are solving it, and we will have a lot of products that have done this namespace change when we released Jakarta EE9 in November. And I just demoed Tomcat and Jetty. So even though you're not using Jakarta EE9, any of the full profiles or anything, but you're on servlet, for example, then, well, Tomcat is coming with Jakarta namespace, so you got to change. And let's show a demo of this. And in this demo, I'm going to use Glassfish. I'm going to take a simple application and run it on Glassfish 5, which is on Jakarta EE8. Then I'm going to transfer this one to Jakarta EE9 and run it in Glassfish 6. And also, I'm going to run it on Apache Tommy to show another implementation. So let's go back to the IDE. And in this time, I'm going to look at the application called REST Duke. And this application is on Jakarta EE8, as you see. And another evidence of that is that you can see that my code here is using the javax namespace. So let's go and change that. First, I'll go into the POM and I'll update the version from, and I'm actually using the release candidate 3. And I update the POM file. I'll just have to update my project as well. And when that is done, you'll see that my code doesn't compile anymore because there is no javax namespace. So I have to switch this. And most of it is done by the IDE, but in some cases you need to go in and do some simple selections on itself. If there are several classes that are conflicting in the name, like request scope, just make sure you're using the right one as same as with the producers. So there it compiles. And in this case, I'll just run it directly from my IDE here. So I'll just show the first one. I think I still have it running here. It says, oh, sorry, REST hello. So this one was the previous one. It said hello to Jakarta E8. And the new one, I'll change from 8 to 9. So now it's saying hello to Jakarta E9. And if I do deploy this one on Glassfish 5, it won't run. So what I have to do is to go and set it up with Glassfish 6. So I'll just add it there. And then I'll go and deploy it to Glassfish 6. And when it's up and running there, which it should be doing pretty soon. There you go. It's up. Then I can go here to my Glassfish 6 server and go to the REST endpoint. And you can see it says hello to Jakarta E9, which is where we want to be. So you see, it's pretty simple. It's to do the namespace changes in your imports, rebuild and redeploy to another runtime. Let's just do a time check here. So I've showed some demos on Jakarta EE9, and let's go and explore what we're thinking of beyond Jakarta EE9. So we want to, pretty soon after EE9, release a 9.1 release with Java SE11 support. And this Java SE11, this dot release of Jakarta EE is something new. We haven't done that before. But in this case, it makes sense rather than waiting for a Jakarta E10 or even releasing a Jakarta E10, which is Jakarta E9 with 11 support. It makes sense to do the 11 support there on 9.1. We want to set some stable release cadence, and as the community usually responds to questions around this is that it seems like the community wants a one release year cadence, and we are exploring how to set this and define when and how this is going to be done. But most likely we'll end on some sort of time-based release cadence, which we are now familiar with from the Java SE world. We want to decouple the specifications a little bit so we don't have to have so much coordination when we are releasing the specifications. For Jakarta E8 and Jakarta E9, it's a massive effort to do this, and we want to kind of decouple especially the test suites that are testing the applications, so we can release them more independently. We want to look at have some predictability around the Java SE versions. And which version is most likely to be supported in the next version. We want to explore a CDI and see if that can be used maybe to replace some other technologies, maybe replace EJB, who knows, or move things from EJB over to a CDI, maybe even make a lighter profile of CDI that is more suitable for ahead of time compilation. We'll see. The work has already started there. We want to add some new APIs if the community wants it, and up for grabs or Jakarta NoSQL are working on there. It's probably something that could be explored even in combination with JPA maybe, or as a standalone specification as it is now. Jakarta MVC has recently released version 1.1 and is planning a version 2.0 on the Jakarta namespace. So that is a possible addition to the web profile. We want to look at the configuration support in Jakarta EE, and luckily nowadays the microprofile working group is getting up and running, so the specifications there will be produced through the Eclipse specification process, and then that means that they can be consumed by Jakarta EE specifications, and we can probably leverage the configuration support from microprofile in a platform-wide configuration model in Jakarta EE. Some other possible updates. We want to look at Jakarta Security. There are some ideas around there about adding OAuth, JSON Web Tokens, and etc. We want to look at Jakarta Concurrency, make it a little simpler to use, more CDI friendly. Jakarta Messaging, maybe add some other messaging types like AMQP, Kafka, MQTT, etc., and also make it better aligned with CDI. And Jakarta Persistence can be simplified, maybe even think about NoSQL in this context, adding some standardized caching like JCache, for example. Jakarta REST, add some multi-part form data, CDI alignment, and etc. And there are more. So Servlet are already planning their next release. So the discussions are going. So just join the mailing lists and be a part of the discussions. To sum up, Jakarta E9 is coming. It has the themes of lower entry barriers, platform for innovation, and easy migration. The most important thing here is the namespace switch. So be aware it will be coming to you, and whether you're on the Jakarta EE platform or you're just using some of the libraries, you will be affected. Some sources of information, as I mentioned, the Jakarta.ee website is the place to go for information about Jakarta EE. All the sources for the specifications and the implementations are on the Eclipse E4J GitHub. Follow the Jakarta blogs at jakartablogs.ee, and do read my hashtag Jakarta EE, which comes out weekly on my blog. And that is what I had for today. So, or I'll just do a reminder that the Jakarta One live stream is coming in December 8th this year. So do go into jakarta1.org and register there. The call for paper is closed and the program is being set together as we talk. And do remember, it will also be some release party for Jakarta EE. So that was what I had for today, and I see there are some questions here. Let me see.
Okay, great.
So,
I was just going to get your attention to see the questions. So reactive programming. Thanks, Ivar.
So the question is, I'm totally new in reactive programming world, and I even don't know if my question makes any sense, but I'd like to know if Jakarta EE offers any support or help for reactive programming. And the answer to that is not currently, no. There are some initiatives in microprofile on reactive support, and now that the establishment of microprofile is coming up, it doesn't make sense to duplicate that efforts in Jakarta EE. So take a look at the reactive work that is being done in microprofile. It could be something that could be brought into Jakarta EE or referenced in some way or the other. Microprofile builds on top of Jakarta EE, so you will have the platform underneath. So I don't think there are any more questions.
No more questions.
So, thank you all for listening, and see you in the conference.